students, this is Mrs. Barnett. Today I'm going to show you how to hold the violin or viola bow that you're learning in your class. The first thing that we need to do is we need to learn the different parts of our bow. So we should have our frog down here, we have our tip, we have the stick, the middle part of the bow, and the horsehair, which you want to be careful not to touch. You might accidentally touch it, and that's okay, but the more you touch it, the darker it'll start to get down at the frog, and that's from oils from your skin. So we want to be really careful not to touch that. So in this video, I want you to mirror me, meaning you're just going to hold your bow in the same hand that I'm holding right now, like you're watching a mirror. So I'm holding my bow in my left hand right now, and you should be holding it in your right. So here is my bow, and I'm going to place it parallel to the ground. Parallel means two lines that never cross. So my bow parallel to the ground, my hair is pointing down, here's the ground, is lined up, not pointing down, not with the hairs pointing up, not with the stick going up, but parallel to the ground with the hairs pointed down. With my other hand, I want you to grab the middle part of the stick and take your right hand off and say, "Hi, Mrs. Barnett." Hi. And we want to be nice and relaxed. That's why we shake our hand out and say hi. After that step, you're going to shoot your basketball, shoot your hand over top the bow, straight over top like this. Shh. Pointing towards the ground, not grabbing it, not sideways, not under, not in the middle of the stick, but shoot your basketball over top that frog. My middle finger is going to line up with the ferrule. That's the silver part right here. Ring finger is going to go on the dot. You may not have a dot, and that's okay. You just have to imagine that you do, right in the middle of the frog. Your pinky is the only finger on the violin or viola bow that's not going to go over top the bow, and it's going to go on the tip top. And a good rule of thumb is making sure it doesn't go any further than this black line on the frog. You don't want to have your pinky go on the tension screw. You also want to make sure your pinky is not right next to the other fingers, because that's going to create tension, which is the worst thing that you can do when you're playing. Pinky goes on the tip top. My pointer finger is now going to go on the finger wrap, and the finger wrap is this black area right here. After you do all four of those fingers, notice my thumb is still not on yet. We're waiting for that one. I want you to pretend like you're turning a doorknob. So you're going to take that doorknob and you're going to turn it the same type of motion as the motion you're going to use to turning your hand on the bow. So here is the sound I make when I turn my hand on the bow. Brrr. And now you can see my knuckles are pointing to the tip of the bow. And my last finger is my thumb. My thumb is going to go on the thumb spot. Now this is kind of hard to tell, but in between your frog and your finger wrap, there's a little wooden area. That's where your thumb is going to go. And it's not going to go all the way through where it's poking your other fingers. It's just going to lightly rest. And if the other fingers are correct, they may have moved a little bit when you did the brrr sound. If your other fingers are correct and your thumb's in the correct spot, you should be able to see if there's an O on the bow. And I have my students say O on the bow. So we want to make sure that wrist is nice and relaxed. All the fingers are still angled. We can even do a pinky push up on the top to make sure our pinky is nice and relaxed. Again, your fingers may have moved a little bit, and that's okay, but you want to make sure your pinky is still on the tip top, your pinky hasn't come over top. You want to make sure that thumb is still curved out like an O, because if your thumb starts curving in, you're going to start to create tension, which again is not going to make your playing super beautiful. So you want to make sure that thumb is curved out, the wrist is nice and relaxed when you're playing, your hand is nice and relaxed when you're playing. Your fingers are not over top. Your fingers are also not over all the way like you're holding a bat, but nice and relaxed. So we'll do the steps one more time. So place your bow into your right hand. Place your bow parallel to the ground. Take your other hand, grab the middle part of the stick to take your right hand off. Say, "Hi, Mrs. Barnett." Hi. Shoot your basketball over top the hoop. Shoo. Middle finger, ferrule, ring finger, dot, pinky, tip top, pointer finger, finger wrap, brrr, thumb, thumb spot, curved out like an O. And check in the mirror and make sure you're doing all these steps. Sometimes it looks a little different in the mirror, and I find that the mirror really does help, especially with your bow hold.